my friends, thanks for joining me today. As you know, I am working on this little golden book. I am turning it into, well, it was supposed to be a folio, as you guys know if you're following along, but it's actually ended up being a lap book, and I'm actually really happy about that because it's been such an awesome, fun project. I've decided that I want to go ahead and use these two envelopes and create a mini journal that is going to go inside of this lap book. So as you saw, I took two envelopes, I tucked one in the other, and that is basically going to be the cover of our small journal. I need to decide how I want to cover it. And actually, I've got a piece of vintage music paper that I printed a page of the kit that I'm using from Line Arrow and Cara Brandon Creates. And I'm going to go ahead and use that to cover these envelopes, and that will make the cover of the journal. And speaking of Line Arrow and Cara Brandon Creations, I am doing a challenge with them, and it's called the Lavender and Lace Challenge, and they're doing it on their Facebook groups. They're also making videos, obviously, and sharing that on YouTube. They did a collaboration where they both worked together to create this lavender and lace kit that I'm using, and it truly is beautiful, and I've so much enjoyed using the kit. I showed the kit a few videos back, and I showed both of them together. Natalie's got hers on her in her Etsy shop at Line Arrow, and then Cara's got hers in her Etsy shop at Cara Brandon Creations. When I showed it, I showed them together, not knowing whose is whose because that's how I printed it out. But I will have both of the links for both of the kits in my description box. You can see I am using my tacky glue and glue stick to get this vintage music paper onto the envelope. I'm doing all of the edges with the tacky glue because I don't trust glue stick with everything. However, I do believe it's going to hold this vintage paper down just fine because the vintage paper is quite porous. Before I go any further with this piece, I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges, and then I am going to embellish the edge right there where that white strip is with this adorable purple trim that I have, and it looks like it's got like little mini tassels on it, so I think it's so cute. I'm also going to ink up the inside of the envelope a little bit just so it's not super bright white. I hope you're all doing great. I want to tell you I am enjoying this project so much. I am excited to show you the flip through of it. It has come together really nicely, and it has inspired me to create another Little Golden Book lap book. So I'm going to be starting on that project once I'm done with this project. And it'll be going back to my Easter kit that I created. I shared one video on that, and I have decided ultimately I'm going to go ahead and create another Little Golden Book lap book because I've just really enjoyed this. If you haven't seen my previous videos creating the lap book, and this is just part of it. This is going to go in the lap book, probably in a pocket or hooked onto a belly band or something like that. I'll make sure to link those videos in my description box, but also you can go to my playlist, and they are on the playlist called, it's called something like Working on Junk Journals and Altered Books, or Working on Journals, I think is what it is. You can see here that I am getting started on covering the second envelope. If you guys have never covered an envelope, it's pretty simple. You basically cut your paper to size and you glue it on, and voila, you're done. So I've been seeing a lot of the window envelopes lately getting, collaged on or decorated on, which is a lot of fun. And it's great to have those beautiful envelopes in our projects. And that's all you got to do. It's a little bit tedious because you've got to get everything to size and all that good stuff. But it does make for a very pretty envelope. I've basically used up all of that vintage music paper with the kit page printed out on it. So I need a piece to coordinate with it. So I got this 6x6 paper pad for Christmas, and I was so grateful for that. And I think this sheet with the purple bunnies will be perfect. I think it's going to coordinate with it beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that to size and finish covering this envelope. I am inking the edges of the envelope so everything blends nicely together. I feel like I want to go ahead and embellish the inside flap there, that white part. I don't want to leave that plain. So I'm going to cut out a piece of the ephemera from the kit, and I'm going to play around with that, and then also I'm going to layer it with a music sheet. But to be honest, ultimately, I end up not using that. I'm going to end up going with paper napkin. If you've never used paper napkin, I want to let you know it's super easy. Paper napkin works great with a glue stick, so you can use that to adhere it to just about anything. And you can use decoupage if you want to. My advice on that would be to go very thin with it. And then also to separate your napkin, frequently there are 3 plies, and it's imperative that you take the other 2 layers off. So just grab a piece of tape or 2 pieces of tape and then put one on the outside corner and one on the inside corner, and the napkin will peel apart so easy, it's like a dream. Now that it's been peeled apart, I'm cutting a small piece to go on my envelope. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue that on there, and then I will either cut or tear away the edge. It is now ready to add some pages. When I'm working on a project, I like to find absolutely any excuse to use the scraps that I'm making while I'm working on the project. So I have some offcuts here of some of the papers that I'm working with, and guess what? I'm going to go ahead and use those as pages in this small journal. Ultimately, I'm going to end up using some offcuts, this pretty purple doily, and also some fabric. If you are new to junk journaling or any kind of journaling and you want to create your own journal, I'll show you real quick here how to bind your journal. Now, I use wax thread, and there's a lot of reasons why I use wax thread. But that being said, you can pretty much use almost anything you want. But I will tell you the benefit of wax thread is it goes through the holes very easily without tearing the holes that you make. So step 1 is get your pages together. Make sure nothing is upside down or anything crazy like that. And then you're going to use your awl, or if you don't have one, use a pokey tool. A lot of you have pokey tools. And then just pop a hole right in the center. Pick up your needle that has been threaded and pop that into the hole. Now, I don't pull it through all the way yet. I leave it in there to hold everything steady. I poke my second hole, now I pull it through and then put my needle through the second hole. Now I'm going to make my third hole, and you see I didn't pull that needle all the way through. I don't do that because it'll help hold things steady. Now you're going to pull that needle through and you're going to put it through the hole that we just created. So we started in the middle, then we went to the left, and now we're going to go to the right. Now I am going to pull that through all the way because basically it's been threaded. And then I'm going to go back in the original center hole and push that needle through there. And sometimes your pages might get unlined, especially if you're working with fabric. That can get a little bit wild. So just be patient with yourself. Now, once you get that needle to come up through there, you want to make sure that there is a piece of thread on one side of that center piece. So you want a piece of thread on each side so that when you go to tie your knot, that piece is going through the center. It blocks it from like popping back through all that paper. I hope that makes sense. Now you're going to do a double knot, and I actually always do a triple knot. Before you do that, you might have seen me check to make sure that my threaded parts were tight. You want to make sure that if they're loose, your pages will be loose, just so you know. And that's it. It's not difficult, but it just might take a couple times of practice. So just practice on some scrap pieces that you have. Now that that is done, you can see what we've just created. Once I flip through this for you, I'm going to go ahead and make some tags that are going to go in the envelope pockets. Because remember, we used envelopes for the cover. Well, they're basically a pocket. So let's go ahead and create some tags to go in those pockets. Once again, I'm going to go back to the scraps that I have from creating this project. That way everything coordinates, and I really like that. I'm marking the size, and I'm just going to cut that on my paper cutter, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my corner rounder. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut some ephemera, again from the kit, which is just so pretty. It's been a real joy to work with it, and decide what I want on these tags. I wanted to give you a little helpful hint on something. So, you know when you're cutting out things that are in the shape of a ticket and the corners they're not perfectly square? Well, I use my hole punch to create that shape. I'm not sure even what to call that shape, but I use my hole punch there to make it have that ticket shape, and it works out perfectly. I can't remember if I mentioned that this journal is available in my Etsy shop, so in case I didn't, I'm gonna let you know that right now. It is available in my Etsy shop, and I have included a purple tassel that I made that will come with it. Using my decorative scissors lately. This particular pair is the one that I've been using, and they've got that nice sort of jagged edge, and it's great when I'm cutting out things that are supposed to be like a stamp, if it's a stamp ephemera, or even a piece like this. It just adds some interest and texture, and then when you hit it with some ink, those points really pick up the ink. So I've been enjoying using those. I've got them in a drawer right next to me where I craft, and that way I can see them and use them. Sometimes we have tools and we use them for a little while, and then we forget about them and we don't use them, which is okay because we don't want all of our creations to look the same or follow the same patterns. But it's not great if we completely forget that we even have them. So I'm trying to go through my craft room. I'm getting ready to be doing some destashing so that I can not have too much stuff. You know, when you have too much stuff, it almost can get in the way. So look forward to some destashing. I think I might go ahead and do some giveaways because I just need to move some stuff out of here. At any rate, friends, I am really glad that you've come along with me to create this little notebook. I think these turned out really pretty, and it's time to slide them in the pockets. Now, I feel like the edges of these pockets are a little bit confined, so I'm going to go ahead and fold them back and add some glue to hold the corners down. And that way there's going to be a little bit more room to move that tag in and out as needed. Friends, I really like how this turned out. This is going to go inside of the Little Golden Book folio / lapbook, and I think it's a wonderful addition. I've added some charms. This could be used as a little scrapbook, as a journal. Honestly, you could throw it in your purse. You could keep it in the big journal, whatever. Well, thanks for watching. See you soon.